vlog052, September, I think 17th or 16th, 2023. It's around 4:30 p.m. It's a Wednesday. I'm in Topanga Canyon. Same as yesterday. Starting the vlog in the same spot. This time it's my second time here, so I know where I'm going and I know what I'm going to see. The purpose of the vlogs is to meditate on the present moment, contemplate the nature of consciousness, memory, thinking, and to document the present. So it's about having a sense of wonder of the present moment, not really having an agenda or speaking or like making any really real judgment calls. Just more judgment calls about what's interesting and what's not. It's more about observing and letting things come naturally, come and go naturally. And as I continue these vlogs, I think maybe the purpose evolves as I find something that's interesting and I want to spend more time doing something like a different style. And I think this is nice because it's I think because this is like me being friends with myself and getting to know myself. And that's something that's not usually done. And so while I'm doing this, I'm also sharing myself, showing, opening, communicating with the world. So stepping into the light of reality, of being known. Smell flowers and greens. Hear a bird chirping, like a crow crowing. An airplane. Some lizard. Skittling across the path to safety. And today every day that I do this walk, or this vlog, it's like developing, growing, so iterating. I think this is a kind of art form as well. Today my mind is thinking a lot about work and what it means, and thinking and how to produce something that's good and beautiful and useful. And it's exciting. It's an art. It's a purpose of life for me. It's a life purpose. Because why? Because it's like an art. It's an adventure. An art in applying my skills to building applications and solutions and things in the world, building things in the world that people can interact with. And I've been really fascinated about this conception of thinking, understanding thinking and what it is, and how human beings evolve through time, through their lifetime, and how thinking essentially is a process that is independent of your age, your body, your physical appearance. Thinking is a process of the spirit, kind of, you can say a spirit. We call it a spirit because we don't see it. And because it is logic, it's invisible, it's configuration of objects and connections between objects and functions and step-by-step processes, like making a sandwich is a process, and it's a function, kind of like computer program function. And like a film is like a story, is like a set of events, set of connections between story points. When we interact with computers, oh, this view, gorgeous. When we interact with computers, when a person sits at a computer for like hours a day, they like get into this like trance, and it's like their thoughts interact with the world, they act on the world, and then they get feedback. So it's this kind of cybernetics feedback loop goes on and happens, and it's a process of the neural net inside of us, neural network of our brains interacting with, say, a program that's more static and set of if else statements. And now that we have machine learning and AI that is actually sufficiently advanced enough that it can supplement and improve our own neural networks. And this is like where this symbiotic relationship feedback loop now is able to get on to a new kind of path. Before, we were like, there are these stories of people, and especially young kids, that interact with a game, like, you know, like those, okay, like Age of Empires, things like that, like Mark Zuckerberg, he's one example, like where you kind of like a simulation, like a Sim City, things like that. Now those games, kids can spend hours on those, and they get into this trance, and this is where that symbiotic relationship happens. And so there's many stories of these kids like later on creating these giant empires themselves of software companies like Facebook and many other examples. And so the lesson here is like, that is the result of the symbiosis of the human mind with the computer programs that run on simple if statements, and like put this thing there, add these two numbers, store this data point here, which is like database driven, and which is based on a database and a user interface. And now that we have neural networks that can think and act and analyze this kind of unstructured information and give out concrete, helpful answers that are human level and more than human level, and rapidly evolving past human level, then this is going to allow us to do much more through this state of the symbiosis of the person and the computer. Now, I see that as my kind of mission and role. So right now I'm working on this tool for really that's aimed at students and kids that are working with, that are studying, that are learning, that need to read a chapter of a book. And so this is kind of like my mission right now, to unlock that next step in the evolution of the human-machine symbiosis. So that's the Text Life, that XYZ application, and then the second one is the like AI avatar generator application, and this one's visual, and this one's also exciting, and maybe I should combine them two into one. And so I chose this one because it is like, it's so solves such a small focused problem that I feel like I can deploy it quickly and easily and have basically a way to fund my further development of those applications more quicker. So that's my story. That's what I've been doing the last few days. I'm at 12 minutes now, 12:30. So adios till next time. And yeah, to conclude, this is a vlog, and it was talked about thinking. I got into the idea of how thinking is like a set of steps, process. Then I got into the idea of computers, how they augment our thinking, and we have this symbiotic relationship with the computer, which has been so far a set of if-else statements and like database interactions. And now that there's large language models that are human level and above, this opens the door to much more powerful applications that will even transform us even more than they have so far in the last 40 years.